welcome back to another screencast, another one. Yes, probably the millionth one that you've watched. But anyway, this is on circles, area, and circumference. It's number 2. We're looking at full circles, but we're also looking at half circles today. That's why it's number 2. So we're going to go over the old full circle first, and then we'll go over the half circle. But trust me, if you have watched the other video and you've done well on that, then you'll find this very, very easy. It makes perfect sense, I hope. So what is circumference? It's the distance around the outside of a circle. And I haven't mentioned here, but what is area? Well, the area is that space in the middle. All right, so we're going to need a calculator for this one. We're going to need a calculator, and we're going to need to use some buttons in particular. So we're going to need to use the shift button and the pi button, which is the times 10 to the power of x. So you press shift times 10, and that will bring up your pi button. And then you may need to use your SD button over here just to convert it from, and you'll see why, something like 8 pi into the decimal or the whole number that we want to have our answer for. So those are the buttons you'll need to press. So just get your color out and make sure you know those buttons before we start. Definitely where the pi button is on your calculator, because your calculator could be a little bit different to mine. All right, so let's have a little go at circumference. You should have already done this. So I'm going to ask you to pause the video now and then see how you go on this question. Okay, pause the video, give it a go, and come back and see if you've got it right. All right, so here we go. First steps would be to write out the formula. It's very important you write out the formula each time. People always say to me, well, I already know it. Well, a lot of people in exams, they get mixed up between circumference and area. And if we write out the formula every single time, we're far more likely to remember it. So circumference equals pi times diameter. Now, we can clearly see on the first circle what the diameter is. It's 8 centimeters. So we're going to replace that d with 8. Pi times 8. This is very, very simple now. It's pi times 8, and that is circumference equals 8 pi. Now, at this point, you'd get out your calculator. You'd press that shift button. You'd press, you press 8 for a start. So you go 8, and then you press shift and the pi button, and you get 8 pi. But to convert that out, you need to press that SD button on my calculator at least, maybe not on yours, and you'll end up getting circumference equals 25.1 centimeters. Now, it's not centimeters squared because this is circumference. This is like perimeter. It's basically the perimeter of a circle. So therefore, it's not centimeters squared. But all of my answers today, apart from the quiz questions, are to 1 decimal place. You may have done a few more, but you can give yourself a mark if not. But anyway, pause the video, give the next one a go, and see if you have got it correct. Right, so here we go. First things first, let's write out the formula. Circumference equals pi times diameter. We know what the diameter is. It's 6, so let's write that down. Circumference equals pi times 6. So that gives us 6 pi. And then we use our calculator to bang out the answer, which is circumference equals 18.8 centimeters. And again, that's to 1 decimal place. All right, so now let's look at some area questions. Now, I always think the area one's that little bit tougher because of that square, but hopefully you have already done these and you know them really well. So give them a pause, give both, just give one a go just to make sure that you've got it correct before you move on to the other one. So just do the first one, just want this one here, okay? Just this one here first before you move on to the second one, just to make sure you're doing it correctly. All right, so very simply, we write out the formula again. So area equals pi times r squared this time. Well, we know what r is. R is 8 on the first one, so we write that back out. Pi times 8 squared. Now, 8 squared, hopefully we know that, so we can square that out first. So we end up with area equals pi times 64. That gives us 64 pi. And at that point, we get out our calculators and we work out what the answer is. So you press 64 and you go shift, pi button, press equals. You may have to press the SD button to get your answer. But this time, area equals what we got here. We've got 201.1. And this time, it's centimeters squared. And again, it's to 1 decimal place. So if you did that one correctly, then pause the video, and do the second one. If you didn't do that one correctly, have a real good look through where you went wrong so that when you do the next one, you get this one right. But pause the video now, give it a go, and come back and see if you've got it right. Right, so here we go. First steps is to write out the formula. Next step is to replace the r with the radius, which is 6. Then square it out. Okay, so you end up with area equals 36 pi. And then use your calculator to get the answer, which is area equals, and what we got 113.1 centimeters squared, and again to 1 decimal place. Hopefully you've done those really well, and if you have done them well, you're ready to move on to the next stage, because now we're looking at half circles. Now with these ones, it's very, very simple. You're going to find out the full area of a circle. You're going to use that formula, but you're going to just divide it by 2. So let's give the first one a go. I'll do the first one for you, and then you can do the second one. So area equals pi times r squared. That would be normal. That's the full circle, but we're just going to divide our answer by 2 because that's what you do, because you've got half a circle. So let's take away the letters and put in the numbers. So we've got pi times 8 squared, and we're going to go divide it by 2. And then if we go one step further, we end up with area equals pi times 64 divided by 2. Put that into your calculator and press the equals button, and we end up with 100.5 centimeters squared, and again to 1 decimal place. So definitely now it's time for you to do the next one. Give it a go, come back and see if you've got it correct. Right, so here we go. First step, write out our formula and divide it by 2. So clearly done that. And then we're going to take away the radius or the r and put in 6. So we've got area equals pi times 6 squared divided by 2. 6 squared is 36, so we end up with area equals pi times 36 divided by 2. And then we put that all into our calculator, and we end up with 56.5 centimeters squared. Okay, now the next ones are that little bit more difficult. They are a little bit more difficult because it's not going to be enough for us just to find the full circumference of a circle and to half it. And the reason for that is we're actually looking for the perimeter of this, because it's no longer a circle, it's actually a half circle. So if we found out the full circle and halved it, we'd be only finding this length here. But we also need to add this length. So have a little look at my working when I do this. I'm going to write perimeter equals pi times d halved, which will give me this length. But then I've got to remember to add the 16. And if I do that, I will be correct. So let's carry on there. I'll take away the d and I'll put in the 16. So I end up with perimeter equals pi times 16 divided by 2 plus 16. Perimeter equals 41.1 centimeters to 1 decimal place. Okay, so pause the video now, give it a go on the other one and see if you've got it right. All right, so here we go. Perimeter equals pi times diameter divided by 2 plus 12. All right, now take away the d, put in the 12, so perimeter equals pi times 12 divided by 2 plus 12. And if we do all of that and put that into our calculator, we'll end up getting perimeter equals 30.8 centimeters to 1 decimal place. So there we go. It's time now for you to find out the area and perimeter of these shapes. Just remember what you're looking at is the diameter, so you'll need to deal with that to find out the area. But pause the video now, give them a go and see if you've got them correct. Okay, so here we go. Moving on. Have you got them correct? We'll soon find out. So those are the formulas there. We just have to remember to halve them. Okay, so for the perimeter, there we go. For the area, there we go. Perimeter, and last but not least, the area, we end up with that answer there. So hopefully you've done really well. Again, you may need to go back and watch this video again. But as always, it's been an absolute pleasure for me to be able to help you with your maths, and hopefully you are getting a little bit better every day, which would be absolutely fantastic, because within a very short amount of time, you'll be acing it.